Incredible gesture. Little girl offers her teddy to a sad CEO. What happens next is life-changing. Sam sat alone on a park bench under the canopies of aging oak trees. He watched the vibrant life around him, children laughing, couples strolling hand in hand, and families enjoying picnics. But in that moment, he felt like a ghost, haunting the edges of the joy he once embraced. His expensive suit felt constricting, a stark contrast to the carefree atmosphere. As the CEO of a tech company, he drove a swanky car, lived in a big house, but an overwhelming sense of isolation wrapped around him, heavy as a wool blanket. A slither of guilt gnawed at him. His palms were slick with sweat as he thought about his company and the financial storm brewing. Investors were restless, but even more pressing was the weight of neglect he felt toward his family. Pushing himself for success left behind the very essence of the American dream he was chasing. He was disconnected from his wife and kids, lost in a labyrinth of ambition and corporate pressures. Just then, a peppy voice broke through his thoughts. "Hi there!" An 8-year-old girl stood before him, clutching a teddy bear, its fur worn in all the right places, eyes shiny with innocence. "You look sad. Do you want my teddy bear?" Sam blinked, momentarily shocked. The little girl's name was Grace, and her smile was contagious. He shook his head, but the sincerity in her eyes painted a picture of concern he had long since neglected. "It's okay. He's my best friend." Touching the teddy's frayed ear, Sam felt something shift within him, an awakening. He recalled his children's laughter that echoed through his home when they were younger, time that had slipped through his fingers like sand. "Thank you, Grace. You're very kind," he managed to say, a tightness in his chest along with a twitch of a smile. "What about you?" Grace asked. "Why are you sad?" As she handed him that bear, Sam found himself spilling secrets he had buried. He shared parts of his life, the weight of corporate battles, and his growing distance from family. Grace, with her wide, innocent eyes, surprised him with tales of her own family's struggles, her father's job loss, and her mother juggling part-time jobs to feed them. The realities he had turned a blind eye to now crashed over him like a tidal wave, squeezing his heart. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As the sun began to lower in the sky, casting a warm glow on the two of them, Grace's unwavering belief in the goodness of people sparked something in Sam's chest, a flicker of connection. No longer was he just a sad CEO. He was a man ready to confront the truth. He realized the answers he sought were never in profits, but in the people around him, struggling to make ends meet. Yet with this newfound understanding came a storm. Stakeholders would soon demand results, and the pressure would mount. Torn between profit and community, a choice lay before him. Just as doubt crept in, Grace's soft voice reverberated in his mind. "But what about the people, Sam?" That question echoed, leaving both him and the reader wondering if love and community could truly conquer the demands of an unforgiving world. Sam sat quietly, holding Grace's teddy bear, feeling its rough texture beneath his thumb. The world around him was still vibrant, but he saw it differently now. Instead of just a backdrop to his troubles, the laughter and joy of those around him reflected a sense of connection he had long forgotten. He looked at Grace, her sparkling eyes wide with anticipation, and realized he had a choice to make. "What do you think I should do, Grace?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. She tilted her head, confusion washing over her small face. "Do about what?" she queried innocently. "About my job, about helping people like you and your family." Grace thought for a moment, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Maybe you can help them, like you help the people at your job? Money is good, but helping is better." It was a simple statement, yet it struck Sam's heart like a bolt of lightning. A sense of clarity flooded over him. It reminded him of the values his parents had instilled in him, the very values that felt lost amid the race for success. He hadn't just wanted to succeed for himself, he had wanted to leave a legacy for his children, a life worth living. But in his pursuit, he had forgotten compassion. "What if I use some of my company's resources to help families like yours?" he said, excitement bubbling up. "What if we created programs to support people in our community?" Grace's face broke into a smile so wide it felt infectious. "That would be amazing!" she exclaimed, bouncing slightly on her feet. "You could be like a superhero." The thought made Sam chuckle, but he also felt a warmth fill his chest, hardening into resolve. Instead of making decisions based only on financial metrics, he could pivot the company's mission. He imagined partnerships with local shelters, workshops for unemployed parents, and events where families could gather and feel supported. As they sat in the waning light, Sam felt a merging of hope and determination. But he also felt a shroud of apprehension creeping back. What would his shareholders say? Would they support such a drastic change? He was torn. This new path could lead to resistance not just from investors but perhaps also from within himself, the fear of risking everything he had built. But then he thought of Grace and her family, of the countless other families struggling just like hers. They weren't numbers on a balance sheet. They were people with stories, needs, and dreams. "What do you think will happen?" he whispered, more to himself than to her. Grace mulled it over, her tiny fingers adjusting the teddy bear in Sam's lap. "If you do good things will happen." Her voice was steady, anchored by the simplicity of childhood faith. That statement ignited something deep within Sam. It was a stirring, a desire to change not for the sake of fame or fortune, but for genuine impact. But just as he felt the weight lift, an unmistakable tension came rushing back. The looming meeting with investors hung over his thoughts like storm clouds. As the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon, Sam knew he had to make a choice. He took a deep breath and looked at Grace, the embodiment of untainted hope. Could he truly choose the heart over profit? And just then, as if on cue, his phone buzzed alongside him, an email alert from the board, the subject line reading, "Urgent, discussion points for tomorrow's meeting." Sam hesitated, caught between the path of safety and the road of risk, where impact lay uncharted. A flicker of determination ignited within him. Tomorrow would be challenging, but for the first time in a long while, he felt ready to fight. "Grace," he leaned forward, "I think I'm going to need your help." But before he could say more, he caught the gleam of her eyes filled with excitement, and in that moment, he realized a vital truth: change often begins with one brave decision. And as he met her gaze, it was clear the journey was just beginning. But what would happen when he faced the board? Would they support his vision, or would he find himself battling against the very foundations he had spent years building? The next morning, Sam stood before the mirror, adjusting his tie with shaky hands. He couldn't shake off the image of Grace's bright smile. It flickered in his mind like a beacon of hope, but also made the gravity of the impending board meeting weigh heavily on his shoulders. The conference room had a polished, corporate feel, walls lined with glass and metal. A long table stretched before him, its surface gleaming under the harsh fluorescent lights. Investors sat around it, some flipping through papers, others stealing glances at their watches. Each face was a mix of curiosity and skepticism. He felt the tension in the air, thick enough to slice through. "All right, let us get started," the head of the board, Mr. Caldwell, said, leaning back in his chair with an authoritative gaze. "We have important matters to discuss today, not least of which are the upcoming quarterly figures." Sam cleared his throat, the sound reverberating in the stillness. He could feel his heart racing, hands clammy against the folder of notes he clutched tightly. "Thank you, everyone." His voice was steady, but the nerves churned in his stomach. "I'd like to talk about something that could change the way we operate, something that I believe could not only maintain our success but expand our legacy." He scanned their faces, some intrigued while others showed signs of growing impatience. Time to lean in, he thought. Instead of viewing our profit margins as the only measure of success, what if we focused on impact? On community? Skepticism flared in the form of raised eyebrows. You mean to prioritize social programs over financial profit? A board member sneered. Yes, Sam replied, his voice stronger now. Imagine if we invested in local families, provided them support, workshops, even job opportunities. We could help them build better futures while also enhancing our brand image. It's a win-win. Not if it means sacrificing our bottom line, another board member, Ms. Lopez, pushed back, crossing her arms. How can we justify this expenditure to our shareholders? Sam's heart raced. He pictured Grace's face, full of hope, clutching her teddy bear. Her words echoed in his mind, if you do good things will happen. He straightened up, finding clarity in the uncertainty. I believe that goodness can bring the kind of profit we can't measure in numbers, he asserted, searching for the right words. Look at companies that have prioritized giving back. They've not only thrived but gained unwavering loyalty from their customers. We can do the same. Murmurs broke out among the board members, some exchanging whispers. Sam felt the moment stretch, uncertain whether his plea had struck a chord or sent them further away. Caldwell sighed, leaning forward, his fingers steepled. What do you suggest? How do we start? Nerves skittered in Sam's stomach. This was it. This was the moment. Let us start with a pilot program. We'll partner with local shelters, sponsor job fairs, and organize community building events. It's an opportunity for us to connect directly with those we serve, showing them we care. He held his breath, waiting for the explosion of opposition. But the room held a suspenseful quiet, all eyes glued to him. What if they rejected him? What if all this fell apart? Let us give this a trial period, Caldwell finally said, breaking the silence. We'll see where it leads. Sam exhaled in relief sparking a thought that flickered through his mind. Was this really happening? He had begun to shift the tide. It felt small, but it was a start. After the meeting, as he stepped out into the sunlight, a feeling bubbled within that he hadn't felt in years. Hope. He texted Grace, "You won't believe what just happened." But even as he reveled in the moment, the undertones of resistance lingered. The battle wasn't over. As he pondered this newfound path, a nagging thought struck him. What would happen if the board eventually turned against this initiative? Would their unwavering dedication to profit suffocate any vision of change? The journey ahead was turbulent, filled with risks. But for the first time, Sam felt ready to embrace it. And as that hope surged through him, he realized he might need even more than courage. He needed help to navigate this new world of uncertainty. Would he find support from unexpected allies, or would he be left to face the tides alone? Sunlight streamed through the office windows, warming Sam's face as he made his way back to his desk. The energy of the board meeting hung over him like a cloud of electricity. For years, he'd felt like a cog in a bustling machine, but today, he felt like he had a purpose, like he might actually steer that machine in a direction that mattered. His phone buzzed with Grace's text. "Are you okay? You're not at lunch." He smiled, heart swelling, and quickly replied, "I'm good. Just had a big meeting. I'll explain everything later." He sat at his desk, mind racing. The ideas whirled around him, persistent. What would the community program look like? How could he make it attractive for the board? Ahead of him lay a mountain of work. He felt a pulse of determination. This wasn't just about profit margins anymore. It was about lives that could be changed. Sam flipped through the notes again, desperate to fill each blank page with action items and ideas. The pilot program would need structure. He envisioned workshops, open houses, families coming together, whole neighborhoods participating in the transformation. But how to get the board to see the real numbers? How to convince them that caring could convert to cash? His phone rang, breaking his reverie. It was Tom, a buddy from marketing, who had always been supportive. "Hey man! You're buzzing. What went down?" "I pitched this heart-centered initiative after the board meeting," Sam said. "To help the community, it actually went well. They approved a pilot program." "That's huge!" Tom exclaimed. People want meaningful connection these days, man. But I hope you have a plan for the naysayers. The reminder sent a shiver down Sam's spine. Yeah, that's the tough part. I need to present hard data on potential gains, but I want the heart behind it too. Have you thought about reaching out to Grace? Tom suggested. Kids have a funny way of getting to the heart of things. Maybe she could help. He chuckled. I don't think a kid-ass teddy bear can make numbers look good, Tom. You'd be surprised. Tom laughed back. Kids have a way of breaking things down to their core. If anyone can make a business case about heart and community, it's her. Sam leaned back, pondering. Grace had a light in her that drew people in. She truly believed in a world where connecting with others mattered. Maybe he could gather her input, spirited and genuine as it was, and that would bring the human element together with the numbers. He decided to try it. Later that evening, Sam found Grace playing on the living room floor with her dolls, smiling as she held tea parties for imaginary friends. Her laughter filled the space, painting it with joy. Hey, kiddo, he said, plopping down beside her. Can I ask you something? Her bright eyes turned to him, curious. Sure, Daddy. I'm trying to make an idea happen at my work, something that helps people in our community. But I want it to mean something that matters. Can you help me think of ways people could get involved? Grace thought for a moment, her brow furrowing with seriousness. What if we ask people to bring in toys and books they don't want? They could help kids. And then we can have a big fun party with games and food. Wow. That's brilliant, Sam said, eyes lighting up. And what if we use your idea for one of the community events? We could give away toys while talking about what our company is doing. Grace nodded vigorously, the enthusiasm radiating from her. And maybe I can give a speech, she squealed. Just as Sam laughed, a thought hit him. What if Grace's charm and innocence could win over the board? It was a wild idea, but it could tie everything together. With her voice and spirit, who could say no? Let us plan it out, sweetheart, he said, feeling the excitement resolve into a clear plan. As they brainstormed ideas, the room filled with laughter and creativity. But deep down, Sam felt the shadows of doubt creeping back. What if the board rejected her idea? What if they dismissed him again? Sam's heart thudded anxiously, but then he glanced at Grace, glowing with possibilities, and his spirit reignited. With her by his side, everything felt achievable. Yet a lingering worry poisoned that optimism. He couldn't shake the feeling that this battle was just beginning. What would happen when the board met Grace? Would their hearts open, or would they shut her out? The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a soft, golden light in their living room as Sam sat cross-legged beside Grace. A pile of colorful papers, sketches, and ideas were scattered around them. The energy in the room was electric, filled with the joy of creation and the weight of possibilities. Can we call it the Community Celebration Day? Grace asked, spinning her doll in circles. She was bursting with excitement, her creativity flowing freely. Sam couldn't help but marvel at her enthusiasm. It was infectious, and he found himself smiling. Absolutely. It sounds perfect, Sam replied. We could hand out flyers in the neighborhood and post about it online. What do you think it should have? Games. And maybe a puppet show. Her fingers danced through the air as she spoke, adding visual flair to her ideas. And we can set up donation boxes, Sam added, scribbling down her suggestions. We can encourage families to bring gently used toys and books, just like you said. Grace giggled. And I can give a speech. Yes. You'll be amazing. The thought filled Sam with pride. Hearing her talk to the community made his heart swell. He could already see the board's reactions to Grace's passion, a blend of innocence and wisdom that adult perspectives often lost. The vision was growing, and he needed to nurture it like a seed in fertile ground. Yet, beneath the excitement, anxiety nipped at him. The more he thought about the board meeting, the more he felt the weight of skepticism. They were a tough crowd, hierarchical and numbers-driven. Sam wrestled with the fear that they might not welcome Grace's ideas or see their true value. Daddy, can I tell my friends at school about the celebration? Grace's innocent question broke through his uncertainty. Of course. The more, the merrier, he said, giving her a quick hug. Her enthusiasm lit a small fire in his heart. Maybe it wasn't just about changing the board's minds. It was about reaching the community directly. Later that night, after dinner and stories, Sam sat at his desk, the noise of the house fading into a comforting silence. He opened his laptop. Researching approached him like a tidal wave as he combed through numbers, models, and success stories of similar initiatives. What if he could paint a compelling story that combined Grace's heartfelt ideas with hard data? The next morning, Sam decided to share this plan with Tom over coffee at their favorite cafe. As they settled into their seats, steaming cups cradled in their palms, Sam delved into the details of the community celebration day. Once the families see how engaged their kids are, I think they'll want to support it, he exclaimed, the energy of the plan bubbling in his chest. Tom listened intently, nodding. Yes. You're not just pushing numbers, you're advocating for their kids. Show them that connection is a commodity, he said with enthusiasm. Yet, a moment of doubt flickered in his eyes. But do you think they'll be responsive to a child's idea? That's the thing, Sam said, leaning forward. If Grace's authenticity shines through, it'll be hard to ignore. She embodies everything this initiative stands for. After some laughter and banter, the conversation shifted. You still need to prepare for the tough questions, though, Tom cautioned, eyes serious. Make sure their skepticism doesn't get in the way. As Sam stepped out of the cafe, he caught the crisp morning air, invigorating him. But the truth lingered. The board could just as easily dismiss the plans. They were jousting with fate, facing an uphill battle that held the lives of many in the balance. Sam's pulse raced with excitement and anxiety intermingled. He felt like standing before the first big wave about to crash. It was about to get real. Would Grace's charm and wisdom truly bridge the gap with the board? Or would his hopes crash like the ocean against the rocks? He didn't have the answer yet, but a sense of urgency pushed him toward the next step. This was just the beginning. What kind of journey awaited them once they stepped into the boardroom? Would their ideas and faith be enough to change hearts? The morning of the board meeting arrived faster than Sam anticipated. He stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie, a nervous knot twisting in his stomach. Each wrinkle in his dress shirt seemed amplified by the weight of expectations he felt pressing down on him. He could already hear the clock ticking down to the hour, each tick echoing his worries. Daddy, are you ready? Grace's voice echoed through the hallway, breaking his trance. She bounced into the room, wearing a vibrant red dress that swirled as she moved, a burst of color that brought a smile to his face despite the tension. Almost sweetheart. You look beautiful. Grace beamed, her eyes sparkling with happiness. Do you think they'll like my ideas? She asked, her excitement mixed with a hint of uncertainty. They will, Grace. You've got the best ideas, and you're going to share them in your own way, Sam replied, kneeling to her height. His heart swelled, as if it knew her innocence and passion could soften even the most hardened hearts. They drove together to the community center, Grace's chatter filling the car with a melody of dreams and possibilities. Sam listened, grateful for her lightness, relieved to share the moment with her. He needed this, her spirit bolstered his resolve. As they entered the boardroom, Grace took a deep breath, her magic seemingly fading away in the presence of the imposing adults around the massive table. Sam felt a chill run down his spine as he caught the focused expressions of the board members, a sea of stoic faces, some leaning back in their chairs while others scribbled notes. Remember, he whispered, just speak from your heart. Their eyes locked for a moment, and Grace nodded. It was a tender exchange, grounding him even as the skepticism of the room loomed large. One of the board members, a sharp-suited woman with a piercing gaze named Mrs. Harrington, cleared her throat and began the meeting. Thank you for coming today. Let us hear about this community celebration day. As Sam overviewed the basic outline, he felt a familiar rush of adrenaline. He shared the statistics and projected engagement levels like they were lifelines. But the room remained silent. He could feel doubt creeping into the corners of his mind, twisting and turning like a vine wanting to choke his hopes. Finally, Sam gestured towards Grace. Now, my daughter, Grace, would like to share her vision. She stood up, her small frame barely towering over the table. Internally, Sam panicked, his heart racing as he saw her confidence wavering. Hi everyone. Grace's voice squeaked as it broke the silence. I want to tell you what I want to do. I think we should have games, and a puppet show, and we can help people by bringing toys and books to share. With each word, Grace's confidence seemed to bloom like a flower inching towards sunlight. Sam leaned forward, biting back the pride swelling in his chest. Now, I also want to give a speech. I want to tell them that it's important to help each other, and that we can be friends. Her innocent fervor filled the room, but he could feel the board members shifting in their seats, exchanging skeptical glances. Just as knots began to tighten again in Sam's stomach, a surprising thing happened. Mrs. Harrington leaned forward, her expression softening. That's a nice thought, Grace. Helping each other, it sounds wonderful, but do you think the kids will really care about donating toys? Grace paused, her eyes considering. They will if it's fun. I could even give my teddy to someone who needs it. A hush fell over the room like a blanket. Sam's heart raced as he watched her pull the fuzzy bear from her backpack, holding it out in front of her. In that moment, Sam realized Grace was showing them more than just her ideas. She was offering a piece of herself. Would that gesture resonate? Would it reach the hearts of the board members? As the room held its breath, all Sam could think about was the shift happening. Could this be the breakthrough they needed? He looked around, waiting for them to respond when. What would Mrs. Harrington say next? Would Grace's heartfelt gesture be enough to sway them? The room was still, a tense silence hanging in the air as all eyes turned towards Grace. Sam felt his heart beating like a drum in his chest, the moment stretching out longer than time should allow. Mrs. Harrington's expression shifted from skepticism to deep contemplation. Your teddy is very special, isn't it? She finally said, her voice a touch softer than before. Grace nodded eagerly, her little fingers gripping her stuffed bear tightly. Why would you want to give it away? Because it makes me happy to share, she responded earnestly, her voice trembling just slightly. Sam's breath caught in his throat. She was just a child, yet she articulated something so profound. The notion of happiness derived from kindness echoed within him. Mrs. Harrington leaned back, crossing her arms. There was a flicker of something else in her eyes, almost like a spark igniting within. You're pretty brave, Grace. It takes a lot of bravery to give something you love to someone else. Other board members shifted in their spots, starting to murmur between themselves. Sam felt a swell of hope, a soft flame igniting in the pit of his stomach. What if Grace's compassion was the key? What if this was what they needed to see? I just want everyone to be friends, Grace said, her little voice rising with a surge of energy. And if they have toys or books, they can play together and be happy. The board members exchanged glances again, their expressions softened, taking in Grace's words. Sam couldn't believe the transformation happening right before his eyes. Grace stood there with wide eyes, innocent yet surprisingly wise. All right, let us think about this, said a gentleman at the end of the table, his tone contemplative. If we could make it fun, maybe we could get the kids excited about giving. Maybe we could even involve the schools. Sam's heart raced. Could they be on the verge of a breakthrough? He could feel the shift happening, a small wave of positive energy spreading through the room. Also, Grace added, her little face lighting up, I bet they'd like to see the puppet show. I can even help make the puppets. The laughter that rippled through the boardroom was both unexpected and a sweet release. Sam watched as Mrs. Harrington smiled for the first time, leaning forward. See? How can anyone say no to sharing and fun? A chorus of nods around the table filled the air, and Sam felt tears prickling at the corners of his eyes. They began to discuss ideas. Volunteers. Advertisements. Grace's ideas spun into a beautiful tapestry of possibility. Plans for games, food, and celebrations filled the boardroom, transforming the skeptical expressions into enthusiasm. There was laughter, chatter, and a sense of purpose taking root. Sam couldn't help but glance at Grace, witnessing the sheer joy on her face. She had done it. She had sparked something in them. As the meeting wrapped up, Sam felt an overwhelming pride. It wasn't just about the event anymore. It was about connection, community. They were on the brink of something incredible. "Thank you for sharing your ideas with us, Grace," Mrs. Harrington said, her tone warm. "This could turn out to be something truly special." Grace beamed, her cheeks rosy with delight. As they exited the boardroom, hand in hand, Sam felt light. But as he stepped outside into the crisp air, a shadow crossed his mind. What if this success came with consequences? What if the board wanted to take control? A sudden chill swept over him. Could they truly keep the spirit of the celebration alive, or would it get lost in corporate agendas? The questions hung in the air like the fading sunlight as they walked away, and Sam couldn't shake the feeling that old challenges lurked on the horizon, ready to test the transformative moment they had just created. What awaited them next? As they walked back to the car, Sam couldn't shake the unease gnawing at him. Grace chattered excitedly beside him, her face glowing with the thrill of being heard. "Do you think they liked my ideas, Dad?" she asked, twirling a lock of hair around her finger. "They loved them, sweetheart." "You were amazing," he replied, forcing a smile to mask his worry. But deep down, he feared the very people who had once doubted them might now see only the corporate opportunity, the numbers rather than the significance behind Grace's words. Once they were in the car, Grace leaned forward, her excitement bubbling over. "What if we have a giant party? We can have games, everyone can come. Oh! And maybe we can make cupcakes. Do you like cupcakes, Dad?" Her eyes sparkled with innocence and hope. "I love cupcakes, especially the ones you make," he said, trying to channel her energy. But as he drove, his mind wandered. He pictured the boardroom again, the sharp suits and the crisp notepads, and he worried their excitement could turn into a marketing spectacle, stripping away the genuine essence of Grace's idea. Families needed healing, not a parade of promotional banners. "Dad?" Grace's small voice pulled him back. "What's wrong?" He caught her curious gaze in the rearview mirror, and realized he had to be honest. "I'm just thinking, what if the celebration becomes more about the adults and less about the kids?" Grace furrowed her brow, a real frown clouding her face. "But it's for them. The kids. They all want to play and be happy." "Exactly," he said, maneuvering through traffic. "But you know how sometimes grown-ups forget? They focus on being proper instead of just having fun." With a soft sigh, she leaned back in her seat, the anticipation fading momentarily. "We just have to remind them." Her straightforwardness pierced through his worry like sunlight through clouds. "You're right, Gracie. You have a way of doing that." Once they reached home, the atmosphere shifted. Sam's wife, Jenna, was in the kitchen, the lovely scent of spaghetti filling the air. Grace bounded in, her joy rekindled, and began spilling all the details from the board meeting in a stream of excited chatter. As Jenna listened, Sam felt warmth blossom in his chest. Grace was the embodiment of the spirit they all needed. Still, that unease pressed on him. He watched Jenna's smile as she cooked, envisioning her input in planning. The board might see the potential for something impactful, but what if they failed to prioritize its true meaning? Later, after dinner, Grace showed him her sketches for the puppet show. Each drawing captured a moment of delight, a world of colors and whimsy. But there was one drawing that caught his eye, a picture of herself with a child in her arms, both of them clutching their teddy bears, grinning from ear to ear. "It's going to be so much fun," she declared. "Yes, it will," Sam replied, feeling the warmth of her joy expanding in his heart. He wanted desperately to protect that joy against the harsh world. As bedtime approached, Grace yawned, her eyelids growing heavy. "You'll help me plan everything tomorrow, right?" "Of course," he promised, kissing her forehead. He tucked her into bed, watching her tiny form sink into the pillow, her new teddy placed firmly at her side. Later that night, Sam stood on the balcony, staring out into the starry sky. He wished for guidance, clarity. Just then, his phone buzzed a message from Mrs. Harrington. "We need to discuss some adjustments for the event. Let us meet tomorrow." His heart sank. Why would they want to change anything? As he stared into the void of night, a heavy certainty settled over him. Change was inevitable, but could they keep the heart of this celebration intact? A memory of Grace's laughter echoed in his mind, and he whispered almost to himself, "We can't lose that." What complications awaited them? Would they fight to preserve Grace's dream, or would they watch it slip away? The questions lingered in the night air, yet he had to find the answer. He turned back inside, his determination swelling. Tomorrow was going to challenge everything. The sun peeked through the curtains, casting soft rays across Grace's room. Sam woke to the sound of his daughter's cheerful humming, a tune he couldn't quite place but found comforting. A small smile crept onto his face. Her spirit was infectious. The previous night's worries still tugged at him, but hearing her sing made them feel a little lighter. "Dad, are you ready to plan the best party ever?" she called, practically bouncing out of bed. Her enthusiasm was a whirlwind, sweeping through every corner of the house. "I'm ready," he replied, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. "First, let us have breakfast, and then we can make a list of everything we need." As they sat at the kitchen table, Grace animatedly rattled off ideas: face painting, games, a treasure hunt. Sam listened, jotting notes, and trying to keep her energy matched. Jenna stirred the oatmeal and glanced over with pride, her eyes glistening at the sight of their daughter shining so brightly. Once breakfast was finished, they gathered in the living room, papers spread out like a treasure map. Grace's drawings piled high as Sam scanned over them, his heart swelling with pride. "What do you think about this puppet show idea?" he asked. Grace's eyes widened. "I want to get all the kids involved. They can help make the puppets." She beamed, her joy shining through even the most mundane tasks. "That sounds perfect," he responded, feeling a wave of optimism rush through him. But amid all the chatter and excitement, the weight of his phone's message loomed in his mind. The meeting with Mrs. Harrington gnawed at him. It felt contradictory to the simple joy they were building. Would someone see it and twist it into something commercial? He buried these thoughts deep, wanting the day to be about Grace and her dreams. "Dad, when is our meeting with those grown-ups?" she asked, her face scrunching in confusion. "Later today," he said, wishing he could brush it off. "But that's not what today is about. Today we're creating magic." As they spent the morning working together, laughter filled the air. They cut out craft supplies, watched as glue adorned their fingers, and cheered loudly when a tower of brightly colored paper cups stood tall. But just as he was about to get lost in her enthusiasm, his phone buzzed again. This time, a reminder for the meeting. Sam couldn't shake the ball of anxiety growing in his stomach. After lunch, he felt the atmosphere shift. Grace was busy arranging her drawings, breathing life into them, while Jenna was prepping dinner. Sam moved to the balcony, looking out toward the street below, and found himself pacing, the uncertainty swirling inside him. How could he protect Grace's dream? Just then, Jenna stepped out, gently placing a hand on his shoulder. "You've got this, Sam. She needs you to believe in her idea as much as she does," she said softly. "I just don't want them to ruin it, Jenna. It's not supposed to be about showing off. It's about healing and joy." "I know, but she has you. Remember how she reminded you last night?" Her gaze was steady and reassuring. "You're her protector, but you also have to trust the process." With a deep breath, Sam nodded, resolving to stay true to Grace's vision. He stepped back inside, recalling her unyielding spirit. They were about to face the boardroom's cold stares, but if anyone could spark warmth in such a place, it was their daughter. As the clock edged closer to the meeting time, Grace bounded into the living room, carrying her most prized possession, her teddy bear. "Dad, do you think Mr. Harper will like Mr. Snuggles?" Sam chuckled as he knelt to her level. How could he not? There's so much love in that bear. "Maybe I should let him borrow Mr. Snuggles to cheer him up," she suggested, her eyes sparkling with innocent confidence. "Sweetheart, that's an incredible idea. Sam felt his heart swell. They were about to embark on a journey together, one that could change everything. But just then, the front door opened, and with it, a wave of apprehension flooded back. "Mrs. Harrington is here," Jenna's voice melted into the tension. Sam swallowed hard, knowing this meeting would determine the future of Grace's dream. Would they see the heart, or only the potential for profit? Clutching Grace's hand, he took a deep breath, ready to confront the challenges ahead. What if the most important thing was not just the plans they made but the message Grace carried? The questions echoed in his mind. Would they see it and understand? As they entered the conference room, Sam could feel the tension in the air thick as frosting. The shine of the polished table mirrored his anxious expression, while Grace bounced beside him, her energy palpable. Mrs. Harrington sat at the head, flanked by board members who wore their skepticism like armor. "Welcome, everyone," she began, her tone polished yet commanding. "Today, we'll be discussing the ideas for the Community Celebration Day, and I'd like to hear Grace's vision." Grace stepped forward, her small stature barely making her noticeable over the long table, her teddy bear clutched tightly against her chest. Sam leaned a little closer, squeezing her hand, hoping to share strength as much as comfort. Hi everyone," Grace chirped, glancing around nervously, but then her eyes locked onto Mrs. Harrington. "I want to tell you about the fun party we're having. It's for all the kids. There will be games and a puppet show, and I want to give my teddy bear to another kid who needs it." There was a pause. The silence held the room captive, as if everyone was holding their breath, waiting for the right response. Sam felt the room shift slightly, an invisible tug pulled at the corners of their frowns, just for a moment. "That's wonderful, Grace," Mrs. Harrington said, nodding slowly. "But how do you think sharing your teddy bear helps everyone?" Grace took a deep breath, her little fingers slipping from Sam's grip as confidence surged within her. "Because sharing makes people happy. If I can make one kid smile with Mr. Snuggles, imagine all the other kids who can share their toys and books. We can all play together." Her sincerity radiated like sunlight breaking through clouds. Sam couldn't help but smile. He could feel the tide change in the room. Board members exchanged glances, intrigue bubbling beneath their skepticism. "Perhaps we can brainstorm ways to encourage participation?" Someone suggested hesitantly, their voice laced with curiosity. "Yes. We can have drop-off boxes for toys and books, and the kids can come together to decorate the community center." Grace beamed. "It should feel like a big fun gathering." "Exactly." Sam jumped in, fueled by Grace's enthusiasm. "The kids want to play, but they also want to feel connected. It could forge new friendships and strengthen community ties." The air buzzed with murmurs. Sam watched as the board began to resonate, shifting from doubt to engagement, like tides turning. Mrs. Harrington leaned forward. "Let us create a committee to oversee this initiative closely. A community-driven approach could redefine our brand amidst difficult times." Grace's eyes widened, and she turned to Sam, her voice a whisper. "Are they really going to help?" "I think so, sweetheart," he said, his heart flickering with hope. As the meeting began to unravel into a flurry of ideas, Sam felt gratitude sweep over him. For the first time, it wasn't just about profits or loss margins. They were all working together to reshape something fundamentally beautiful. Grace was shifting this corporate world from numbers to heartbeats. Discussion flowed freely now, laughter mingling with practical planning. The idea of puppet-making workshops emerged, with members naturally volunteering to bring their kids in to help. Sam couldn't help but notice the transformation. There was energy, excitement, and a shared vision building around the table. Yet, as the meeting wrapped up with thoughtful nods and positive affirmations, a familiar tension returned. Sam still wondered deep down, would the board honor this spirit as they moved forward? As they filed out of the room, a familiar warmth curled in Sam's chest, but the specter of corporate machinery loomed over him. He had to ensure they didn't drive out the heart of it all. "Dad!" Grace tugged at his sleeve, breaking into his thoughts. "Can we get ice cream to celebrate?" "Absolutely," he laughed, tousling her hair. "You deserve it." As they stepped outside, the crisp air kissed their faces, the sun broke through the clouds, painting the world in new light. Sam knew there would be hurdles ahead, negotiations, budgets, perhaps even boardroom backlash. But side by side with Grace, he felt invincible. "Grace, you really did it," he said, looking down at her with pride. "Don't forget, Dad," she said, her eyes wide with sincerity. "We're doing it together." Sam smiled, realizing she was right. If they could stay true to this path, guided by love and kindness, they could weather any storm. In the coming weeks, the community celebration day began to take shape. It became an opportunity for families to come together, connect, and reconcile the ties that had frayed over time. Sam stood proud at the forefront, advocating for the balance of heart and business. And as each child arrived, laughter echoed in the air, the warmth of shared toys and stories creating a community tapestry. But above all, nestled within the joy, Sam had rediscovered his own heart, a testament to the unbreakable bond forged between a father and his daughter. Together, they had rekindled a flame not just for themselves, but a whole community who, through sharing, found strength. As laughter rang out on that special day, Sam took a moment to appreciate everything that had brought them here. Grace ran up to him, beaming with happiness, teddy bear in hand, her reminder that love and compassion could lead to change. "We did it, Dad. We really did." "Yes, we did, sweet girl," Sam replied, his heart fuller than ever. "And this is only the beginning." He cherished that moment, a culmination of hope, responsibility, and transformation, a tangible proof that love shared brings more than happiness. It builds lasting memories and connections that could weather any storm. Sam looked ahead, ready to face whatever challenges came next together with Grace. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and keep the magic going. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who truly need to see this transformation. Your support is what keeps us going. It's time to show it.